Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to kind of try a three-dimensional canvas piece. So I had this idea to take some just, fake flowers and cut them and adhere them and then paint over them to give it kind of like a statue relief. But anyway, so I cut off the very bottom and so it can lay kind of flush or flat. And I cut off two of the stems and I have some little leaves. So, and then I have a mess on the actual canvas itself. So I have plugged in my hot glue gun and I want to kind of figure out where I want them to go. So I know I want one up here in the corner, one right here. The stems are going to be here. I may or may not put another one. So I think maybe just two and then leave it there. So I have my hot glue gun and I want to figure out where I want my stems to go and where my flower is going to be. All right, so I'm thinking maybe one taller and maybe one a little smaller. Okay, so I want to get all the little pieces out first. And I just want to adhere this. I'm just going to let that sit for a little while. But I also want to saturate the very bottom of my fake petal. I want to put a pretty generous amount on here so that it will indeed stick and stay. And you want to make sure that it is pressed in. Let that cure a little. All right, I'm just going to run a bit of a bead down. And then I want to kind of clean up some of the excess. Glue. All right. So that's a base on one. And I have some leaves. I'm thinking maybe a leaf here. Maybe a leaf here. I like that placement. A little on both sides, and then I want to go ahead and pat it down. Do it again for this. And don't want this excess glue to show. All right, so I have one. It should be pretty adhered and does not fall off. Okay, that's great. Now I want to assemble my other one, and I want this to be a little taller, so I'm going to just put it up here. So let's go ahead and just glue the stick of this first. All right, so we have a pretty good adhesion, but now we want to go ahead and start to maybe glue these leaves down just a little bit. So I want to rotate them in place so that they're kind of off center a little. And I think I'm going to do one side and then the other just because I don't want to burn myself. So I'm just folding these up. And I'll just let it go flat. And maybe a little bit more. Now, I think the paint might adhere to it. Okay, anyway, we'll do this one. Let's get a little bit of a stronger foundation for the flower heads. All right, so once you're pretty much done with this section, you can clean up all the little glue strings. Just kind of put them off to the side. They will no doubt be found again later. All right, so we're just going to let everything kind of cure and cool off and just kind of sit on this canvas. And I just touched hot glue. That felt awesome. So we're just going to let everything kind of cure. So let it cure. So let it cure. All right, so I've let it cure a little bit, and I have some white paint and it's just straight acrylic paint. And we're just going to build up the base and just force all this acrylic color in here. And just really saturate this. And we might need to use another coat or so, but for right now, just try to saturate the most you can. And we'll extend out into the petals. And I'm kind of scrubbing because they are adhered, but some of them are a little bit not adhered. They're a little bit wild. So I'm kind of using the paint to sort of glue them together, or at least give them a bit of a texture so that it's stiffer, so that they maybe add more dimension. But I do want to keep them pretty flat. Okay, so once I've got a pretty good coat on, we're just going to let this cure and dry and just come back when it's just a little bit easier to work with and able to add another layer. And we're going to keep adding layers until this looks like plaster and just has shadow. Right now you can still kind of see the color showing through of the fabric, but the next layer it should cover it a little bit more. So just let it dry. All right, I have let it dry and we're going to add another layer. It's still a little bit wet in some spots, but that's okay. We're just going to continue to add more. I'm going to wash my brush because I got a lot of those little hot glue strings in there. So just trying to keep it clean. And we're just going to keep adding more. I think I did this one. This one I did first. That one I did last. And we're just going to build up some more. Just some more layers to this. Might even need more. but it should stick a little bit better. All right, so now that we've got another coat on there, we're going to let this dry more. It's just going to keep going in batches of drying and applying until we get to a place where we do not really even see the colors anymore. So it looks a little bit more like a plaster feel is what I'm trying to go for. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let it dry. All right, so I've let it dry a little bit more and we're going to paint on another layer. So this layer we want to be even thicker. Really try to seal everything in there. And I'm going to use even more paint. Might be easier if I just kind of turn my canvas around so I'm a little closer to the pile of paint. But as you could see, this looks a little bit more plastery. All right, so I have a very chunky amount of paint on this. Some of the areas are still raised, but they are adhered, so they're sticking. But we want to really make sure we let this dry for a while. So if not even, maybe even overnight, just to really make sure that the acrylic paint sets in. And then we're just, I think what I want to do is kind of a color wash over. So we'll see how that goes. But let it dry for a little while. Give it a couple hours at least, if not overnight. So let it dry.